Good evening. Welcome to the October 8th, 2025 meeting of the City of Lake Forest Plan Commission. I am Mark Pasquesi, Chairman of the Commission. At this time, I would like to ask members of the Commission to introduce themselves, starting at my far right.
David Hunt.
Lisa Neary.
Louis Pickus.
Barrett Davy. Paul Thomas.
And from City Staff, Director of Community Development, Kathy Cerniak is here as well. Our first item of business is approval of the minutes from July 9th, 2025 meeting and September 10th, 2025 Plan Commission meetings. Do we have, first, was everybody able to review the minutes? All right. Do we have a motion on that?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes of the meetings for July 9th and September 10th, 2025 are approved. Moving on. Next item on the agenda is a request for a recommendation in support of reapproval of a tentative and final plat of subdivision for the Saunders Estates subdivision proposed on the property addressed at 480 Saunders Road. 4 single-family lots are proposed. Property owner CCCT LLC, Todd Polson, Chuck Craig, and Chris Cerniglia. Oh, Cerniglia, all right. Very good. Presented by Don Fielding and Todd R. Sin. At this time, I will ask the board for declaration of conflicts of interest and ex parte contacts. None. Hearing none, I will move on. I will swear in parties now. For anyone intending to speak tonight, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly declare and affirm that the testimony you're about to give or have previously given is true and correct to your best knowledge?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. At this time, I'll ask petitioner to address the podium and present their petition.
My name's Don Fielding. Am I coming clear? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, good. My voice is starting to fade as I get older, I think I've noticed. I'm president of Charles Greengard Associates. We're located in Lincolnshire. We're engineers and surveyors. We've been involved with this property from day one, which has been quite some time now. But the property owner has always stayed the same. And when we were back here 3 years ago, essentially we're presenting the same plat with just a few minor changes, which I'll point out to when we get to it. With me is Todd Sin of Urban Forest Management. He's done all the tree inventory work and the tree report that you have. He's here to answer any questions that might come up during the process. My comments will be brief and succinct. The first exhibit here is the proposed plat of subdivision. We are proposing 4 lots. There we go. All fronted on Saunders Road. Those are individual homes. In the back is an open area, which we'll call Outlot A, which will be commonly owned between the 4 property owners. They will have a homeowners association. We will also be using the lot for some stormwater detention, which I'll explain, and also for berming to block out the toll road noise, which is over here on the left, on the toll road. I'm sure all of you have been to the site and probably familiar with it through the years. It hasn't changed. It stood fallow for the most time. I think circa around 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, they took the house down. So originally this was all one piece of property with a house on the thing. I do want to point out the one change. There are easements along Lot 3, on the north side of Lot 3 and along the rear of the lot bordering the outlot A, lots 1, 2, and 3, for drainage purposes primarily. We're running a storm sewer and a shallow ditch through there. And originally, that was the primary, only reason for that. Since then, the owners have requested they wanted to have some form of access for maintenance equipment to take care of the lawn and to be able to get back into Outlot A. So what we did was to overlay the bottom part of that easement with an access easement and slightly adjusted the grading there so there's a flat area for that equipment to get back to Outlot A. Outside of that, this is identical to what you saw 3 years ago. In fact, the shape and form of the easements are the same. It's just the addition of the overlay access on the south part of the easement. Oh, this is going to be hard to see. Well, let's rely on your packages, the details. But this is all the detail on the property. It slopes gently from east to west, north is to the top. There are a number of trees on the property. They've all been tagged, identified. You can walk through the property. There'll be your road map to tell you where you are, quite frankly, because they're all tagged. The bigger shaded trees are the better trees on the property. The smaller ones are not quite that evident, but you see them on your package, I'm sure, on there. The drainage right now flows under a culvert under Sanders Road, overland to a culvert underneath the berm. There's an existing berm there now, over to the right-of-way of the toll road. So, and that culvert was put in when this berm was built. This is a number of years ago. Phil was brought on the site to build this berm. It also raised a portion of Lot 4. So Lot 4 is partially on Phil. All of the drainage up and down Saunders Road is ditch drainage. In the immediate vicinity from the south drains north to this culvert, and from the north it drains south to this culvert. So the site is completely contained within its drainage patterns, and it accepts the drainage from the lots across the street. So we'll be talking about a detention basin we're providing for, and that is for this 5-lot subdivision, as well as the off-site drainage that's passing through from across the street. This is our grading plan. It's a little darker. Okay, and this is a blow-up of the back of the grading plan, which I'll go back to, but we can zero in and take a look at what we're proposing for the drainage, which is this storm sewer right here, connecting to this existing sewer under the berm. And then we're hollowing out the back part behind lots 1, 2, and 3 to create a dry detention basin. So this will be all active recreational area, except during the rain when the basin fills up and then drains back down. It's all designed here so that it has no standing water. The water will go up and down depending on the intensity of the storm. The excess dirt that's coming out of this basin is going to raise the berms a little higher. That's those contours you see right here. So we're raising the berm another 3-4 feet to block the noise coming from the south northbound lane of the toll road. And we're also filling a little bit behind lot 3 for the same reason, raising that berm over there too, for the sound that's coming from the northbound lane across the way. Going back to our overall development plan. Here's here's our 4 lots. Sewer and water exists now in Saunders Road. It was put in a number of years ago with a special assessment, which is getting pretty close to being paid off, I think. So we'll be bringing in, we'll just merely be tapping sanitary and water for each of the 4 lots to that existing sewer and water. And then the drainage will be, all directed back to the detention basin as each one of these 4 lots are developed. We've set some tentative grades for the 4 houses, and this is a conceptual grading plan that kind of acts as a roadmap as each one of these lots are developed. And then, one more time back at our proposed detention basin in the back, you'll see there's 3 shaded trees that are within the construction area of the basin. Those 3 trees will be removed. These are the only trees that are being removed on the site. In the future, as the individual houses are developed, depending on their placement, some of the other trees will be removed and then would be replaced in accordance with the city's replacement ordinance. But that all will be shown as individual site development plans for each lot as they come in for building permit. But right now, there's nothing else going in, disturbing the 4 lots essentially, excepting where we're putting in that storm sewer that I showed you. This pretty much concludes the, the technical aspects of it. Back when we had our preliminary plat approved, this is about 5.5 acres. We got essentially roughly 4 40,000 square foot lots with a minimum of 40,000, but in round numbers, and the rest is going into the outlot. It's zoned R3, fully conforming to the R3 with the exception of the, not quite sure what it's called, but the length of the width ordinance, which we're asking for relief from, and was given to it before when we did the preliminary plat. Are there any questions?
Not at this time, but we may have some a little bit later. Thank you, Mr. Felding.
Yeah.
At this time, we'll turn to Kathy Cerniak for identification of issues.
Thank you, Chairman Pasquesi, members of the commission. Thank you, Mr. Fielding, for a thorough presentation. This subdivision has been before the Plan Commission on 2 previous occasions. For various reasons, market conditions, personal reasons, the owners did not proceed with recording the plat. Approvals do expire, and that is why this is back before you. Mr. Fielding said the subdivision has not changed. It is a proposed subdivision of 4 lots, creating 4 lots and an outlot. A bit of history on this area: about 22 years ago, some of the residents in this area came to the city. This area was not part of the city, and requested the extension of public water. They were on well water, which was not desirable. I remember one resident bringing in a jar of the well water, and it did not look pretty. The SSA has concluded, so for 20 years following the installation of public sanitary sewer and public water, there was an assessment that appeared on the property taxes for each of the, I believe there's about 15 properties that benefited from that in the Saunders Road area. So that additional assessment, really from the staff's perspective, helped to really curtail development in that area just because of the additional property taxes. So that now has rolled off. This area was, just prior to extending a sanitary sewer and water, it was annexed to the city. the R3 zoning was applied, which has a minimum lot size of 40,000 square feet. 3 of these lots comply with that 40,000, and one lot, I believe it's the northernmost lot, exceeds that 40,000 square feet. So the lots are in compliance. All 4 lots have frontage on Saunders Road. We would consider this a conventional subdivision. There are no lots in depth, that is, lots that need to be accessed by a panhandle driveway with no frontage. There is no need for public improvements. As I said, all these lots have frontage on on the public street. Water and sewer are there, so there are no public improvements at all. The only private improvement will be the detention area, which is on an outlot, which we do require detention areas to be on outlots to avoid future confusion and problems when an outlot stretches across 2 or 3 or 4 privately owned properties. As Mr. Fielding said, the one aspect of the subdivision that does not strictly comply with the code is the lot to depth ratio. For the purpose of keeping lots more regular in size, the lot ratio is normally 1 to 2, with the lot width relating to 2 times the lot depth. In this case, the lots are deeper. Each of these lots could meet that lot to depth ratio if they were just made shorter and more of the land was added to the outlot. But in this case, because of the proximity, the adjacency to the tollway, it really makes sense. There's not additional land that's needed for the detention area, so it really gives these lots the benefit of an opportunity to plant more vegetation, to put in a fence, or to put in amenities like a pool or an outdoor kitchen. These properties would support, at the size, they'd support homes of about 5,000 square feet at a maximum, with an allowance of 800 for a garage. So they would be large homes, not inconsistent with some of the other homes out in that area. We do anticipate further subdivision activity in this area. This is one of, I won't say one of the few lots, but several of the lots to the north of this property are significantly impacted by wetlands. This property does not have any wetlands, so it is one of the more developable properties. As Mr. Fielding noted, this property was previously developed with 1 house and a barn and a swimming pool. Those were removed because they were in severe disrepair and they really were an attractive nuisance many years ago. You do have findings in the staff report in support of this. We do recommend approval of both tentative and final plat. It is appropriate to combine both of those approvals, again, because there are no public improvements that need to be put in. There's no further engineering detail. Before the plat's recorded and before the final engineering plans are given the stamp of approval from the city engineer, there will be one additional review. Fees will be due prior to the recording of the plat. Once the plat is recorded, these lots can be sold individually. Each lot can be built on separately. The homes will need to go before the Building Review Board for a review of the site plan, the square footage of the homes, and design aspects. I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Kathy. At this time, I'll open it up to commission for questions or requests for clarification from staff or petitioner.
I just had one question. Am I correct that any changes to the trees would be a part of the scope of the building permitting process?
Yes, there are, as Mr. Fielding noted, I believe there's 3 trees that would need to be removed. The city arborist was out there, and there are only 6 trees, possibly 7, although the 7 may already be compromised because the roots are under some of the existing pavement. But there were only 6 to 7 trees identified as being significant. Those will work to protect, but you are correct, Commissioner Hunt, that as each property comes in, we will do what the Building Review Board normally does, require a tree survey, identify any trees proposed for removal, identify replacement inches, and require an overall landscape plan. I will note that as part of the subdivision improvements, we will require some street trees along the public street to be planted.
Thank you. That's all.
Any questions?
Yeah.
please.
Couple of questions in terms of, from the previous minutes, it was mentioned, like in the recommendation, that they should have a declaration of covenants. I didn't see that in terms of, in this one, unless I missed it, in terms of the recommendation of that. And I was curious about that. And they want to have a homeowners association. Well, if they each have driveways accessing Saunders Road, is the homeowners association, so it helps take care of the basin? Like if something happens with the basin or something with the berm and all that, is that what that money is gonna go to? Just out of curiosity, I wasn't sure what the direction was on that.
We do have a draft declaration of covenants. That is reviewed with the city attorney, not something that the Plan Commission normally sees, but we do have that.
Okay.
And yes, the HOA in this case, because there's no private roads, is essentially responsible for stormwater management. So the outlot, management of the pond, mowing, landscaping, whatever needs to happen back there.
Okay. Another question I had was on the plot of survey. They had like a sprinkler system that they, in the last couple of minutes of the previous ones you included, they said they have to have a sprinkler system. And I didn't see that in this one, so I was just curious, is that gonna be something that's followed from the last one, unless I misread them? It was on page 4 or 5 in February, what was that, in March, yeah, February 8th minute meetings. That it was included, sprinkler system was in there, and then I think it was also in the March one too. I was just curious.
Oh, Mr. Fielding, I don't remember about a sprinkler system. I can look at those pages in the
It
minutes.
says equipped with residential sprinkler systems for fire protection.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was thinking irrigation. That is a standard requirement of our code now. All new home construction requires residential sprinklers in the homes.
Okay,
Sorry, I was,
no,
irrigation.
yeah, okay. I just wasn't sure, because I don't have sprinklers in my house, that's why I don't.
Yes, it's a standard requirement now. At that time, it wasn't.
Got it, okay. And then you said at this time, you don't know if these lots are gonna be individually sold, or if it's one developer that's gonna buy all of them? Like, we still don't know, right? It's just, it could be like that or not like that.
I don't know, and it could be either way. We wouldn't really have any control. This developer will need to record the plat in order to affect the subdivision. And then the lots could be sold. There will need to be a developer who's responsible for doing the stormwater management improvements. And then the lots could be sold individually.
Okay, that's it, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Moorhead?
My questions were asked, so I don't
Okay,
have any.
perfect. Questions down here?
No questions.
I was just gonna ask simply, is there anything that would, are we changing anything from the motion that was made last time? Because this was approved by us, then the city council approved it, so I made the motion originally, and so I just want, and you seconded it, we approved it. I'm just curious,
thing is-
did we change anything, has anything changed that would change in the motion that was made, approved by us and approved by the city council previously?
Nothing would change in the motion. The conditions, as Commissioner Neering noted, we removed the condition about the residential sprinklers because that's just a standard requirement now.
Okay.
But no, nothing would change with the motion.
And no, and then there's nothing, there's no need to change it. I know in the staff report, there's a mention that the stormwater regulations have been updated, and the developer has also updated the engineering placed on that, or plans based on that. That wouldn't have any effect on.
And the city engineer has reviewed the plans, there are a few minor comments. He'll get the final plans in, and we'll need to sign off finally on those before the plat's recorded. But yes, there was a slight modification. That's all been taken care of.
Great, thank you.
All right. Hearing no more questions, I'll open it up for public testimony. Do you want to hear? Well, if you plan on testifying, I'd ask you to stand up so I could swear you in, and then you can approach the podium. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly declare and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct to your best knowledge? Okay, please come up to the podium, introduce yourself, and make your comments.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sharif Nasser. I'm currently a resident at 500 Saunders Road, also known as South Saunders Road. I purchased the property in 2018 for my wife, Diana, and I, and my 3 kids to relocate from the city. We co-own a series of day schools in the city of Chicago. We own and operate them and have been since 2011. Part of the reason we uprooted ourselves from the city to Lake Forest is that my uncle had set roots down here maybe in the early 70s. So we already had family in the area, and, you know, I have some of my earliest memories in the city of Lake Forest, you know, swimming and, you know, just, you know, going out on these nature walks and just really enjoying his property. He lives on Telegraph Road. And he himself, he's a real estate developer. So I can appreciate real estate development and, you know, kind of all the thought and all of the permissions that are involved in taking on a project of this scope. For us, I just feel as residents of Saunders Road, and I kind of speak on behalf of all of us, that it might be more suitable, in our opinion, that the lots are maybe, instead of it being 4 homes, maybe it could be conducive to 1 or 2 homes, even though based on your assessment of the lot size, of course, it could be conducive to 4. Just based on the size of the properties and kind of like the livability of the neighborhood. I think that all of us can agree that, you know, I think proper steps are being taken, I think, in order to try to receive city approval on making this a reality. But, you know, I just stand before you guys here today to say, I think it would probably be more tasteful, for a lack of better words, for it to be like 1 to 2 homes instead of crowding it with 4 homes on the same road. I myself had considered, when it was available, purchasing the land. My idea for the land, of course, was very different. I wanted to purchase it in addition to all the other adjacent lots collectively, so that I could put it in trust, maybe with the help of my, you know, my fellow neighbors, to maintain, you know, the trees, the flora, the fauna. We love seeing deer. I mean, I have a 9-year-old daughter, a 6-year-old daughter, and a 4-year-old son. So just the joy that they get from seeing the deer and seeing the squirrels, the raccoons, the groundhogs, like all sorts of flora and fauna in the area. And it is the western boundary of Lake Forest, as you guys know. And so I felt that it was important, just from a visual or like kind of like an aesthetic point of view, that when you're driving on the 9094 northbound or southbound, that you kind of have that coverage there with all the mature trees. I do realize they're not taking down many of those trees that are on the lot. But you know, I just feel that it might be a little bit, kind of reminds me of the Conway Farms development, where they subdivided a lot of the lots, and the homes are beautiful, but they're just kind of tight in terms of distance between one another. So if nothing else, I'm just here to kind of just express my opinion and just let you guys know that I put a lot of work into purchasing my property and then kind of improving upon it. I actually bought it sight unseen, which is kind of unheard of, but I didn't realize how much work that property needed. But it's come a long, long way from where it was in 2018 to where it is today. And those are my thoughts.
Very good. Thank you. Public testimony will remain open if anyone else has anything they'd like to say. Okay, please, you can come up to the podium. I'll swear you in up there. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly declare and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct to your best knowledge?
I do.
Please introduce yourself and proceed.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Luo. I am a resident of Saunders Road as well. We live at 441. It's me, my wife, and we have a newborn. He's about 2 months today. And yeah, thank you. And I think as just residents in general, I think it's normal for people to have apprehensions and be nervous about major changes just occurring across the street. And at the same time, I also understand that a lot of this development is approved, and I like our neighbors, and I like having neighbors, so I'm not against development at all. At the same time, we do have some concerns. We spoke with a fellow neighbor. Her name is Kristen, who lives at 2055. And then some of our mutual thoughts were that we're worried about the street and how small it is, and how if we have appointments to make, we don't want to be waiting for like 5 minutes just for like trucks to get out of the way, and we want to make sure that we can kind of at least utilize that street if we need to. And then I would like to know more about the burn, and that's in the process of how it's being made, and like how that might also affect our noise, if it would help us, or just to know more about that issue. And then I know we have already spoken about trees, and that's been approved by the arborist, so I think that's great. And then I also just worry about kind of sleep and restfulness, and I just worry that construction times will like start at a normal like hour, like no like 6:30 a.m. start times, because rest is kind of important for all of us. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, proceed. Yep. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly declare and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct to your best knowledge?
I do. My name is Fahad Faruqi. I am a resident at 41 Saunders, at the very end of the street. I'm a physician here in the community. I've been living here for about 6 years or so now. We actually went through the process with the commission and the building and working with Kathy, you know, when we built our house in 2020. So definitely familiar with the whole process, and, you know, respect the development of trying to, you know, develop that street. It's a beautiful street. You know, one of the concerns that I think that we have, you know, in talking as neighbors, and, you know, all of the properties along Saunders, you know, have an estate feel. They're each about 2.5 to 3 acres in size. Certainly there's the larger lots there that are underdeveloped. And so, you know, I think that character, or that, you know, is some of the draw for that street. You know, I can say that some of the concerns I have about the current proposal is that it kind of disrupts that feel when you're trying to put 4 properties on a 5.5 acre lot. And so, you know, my concern is on, you know, the effect of the property value of our existing homes. You know, we have some pretty large homes on those areas, and, you know, when you start combining that many houses into that confined of a space on one side of the street, it's going to affect the look on the other side of the street. And I think, you know, one of the things that I think may have been glossed over is if you look at the north end of the property, I don't know if this pointer works or not, but these 3 properties are all owned by LLCs. They're all 5 acre properties. Now, what's going to happen when we put 4 more units there, 4 more there? We're talking about 16 possible subdivided having houses there. Sure, it may not be 16 with wetlands and all that, but I mean, we have 4 properties that are underdeveloped and all owned by LLCs, and we don't know what their plans are, but my concern is that it sets a precedent for subdividing even further, and that is my concern of how that's going to affect my property, how it affects our neighbors, and even the Firths who, you know, live at 310, who, you know, who Michael spoke with. And so, again, I'm not against development of what these gentlemen want to do, but my counter to that would be, let's have 2 properties there and make it 2 3-acre parcels, because now, you know, you can actually stay consistent with the feel of the street and still create development, create new homes for Lake Forest. But my concern would be, you know, make it two parcels, because then that conforms to the lot sizes, and I think the feel of the street, because certainly now you have 4 different HOAs if you're doing 4 different subdivided lots. And so, I mean, you all live here in town too. I'm sure you wouldn't want to see your property subdivided after being here. I mean, I built my house, and I plan to be here for a long time. You know, I put a lot of money into that. I have 3 daughters that are in the school systems here. And I think that's a big concern. And so, you know, I don't know if that, you know, in terms of what my comments, you know, in terms of that effect, but my concern is to pause and to say, hey, why don't we relook at this subdivision? Because again, the remaining lots that are underdeveloped are all owned by LLCs who have the same precedent, or are going to follow that same precedent of developing these lots. And so I'm against this 4-lot proposal, for what it's worth. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else looking to testify? Okay, at this point, I will close public testimony and turn back to commission for final questions.
it would be for Kathy. I'm not sure, is there, as he was just speaking about in terms of Saunders Road, was anything ever set up, because it was annexed into the city because of the water, so was there anything ever set up that the properties around that would all be 2 to 3 acres? Was that a standard in terms of, was it I can't remember if it's an R5 or,
The zoning that was applied to the entire area is R3, which has a minimum lot size of 40,000 square feet.
Can I ask a question, kind of gentle to that?
Can you turn your microphone on?
When this area was annexed into the city, how did the city then decide that it should be in the R3? Or how did it do zoning for any of these properties that were annexed? What's the process?
The process is annexations come before the Plan Commission, and you recommend yes or no on the annexation, and then you recommend to the City Council an applicable zoning district. In this case, Conway Farms was looked at, the variety of lot sizes. Conway Farms is made up of both larger lots for single-family homes, smaller lots for single-family homes, and then townhomes, duplexes. It was looked at that this area is adjacent to Office to the north and the Tollway to the west. So it was evaluated based on surroundings, which is a requirement for application of zoning. It was also looked at from the perspective of what is the lot inventory in the community. Much of the community is 1.5 acre lots, and there was much discussion at the time that smaller lots, 1 acre, would be something that could be attractive, and also recognizing that this is a unique area. It has unique access, it has some impact from wetlands, and again, it has impacts from the tollway. So my recollection during those discussions is that the R3 zoning was carefully considered and applied, also recognizing that all of the property owners were investing significantly in public improvements, the sanitary, sewer, and water extension.
Thank you.
thank you.
Did not.
Yes, go
Yeah,
ahead. Mr. Thomas?
for you, Mr. Mayak, has it always been R3? When the homes, as we've heard about here today, when those were built, was it R3 zoning when they were built?
When those homes, when most of the homes, except for the newer home, was built, it was actually not property within the city. It was unincorporated Lake County, so they were built under a different zoning district. When the city annexed the property, again, in order to provide sanitary sewer and public water, as requested by those residents, in order to provide public city services, it needed to be part of the city. It was annexed, then removed from county zoning, and the R3 zoning was applied. So most of the homes that are out there now were built in the county under different zoning regulations.
And when it was annexed, the new zoning allowed for smaller lots.
City zoning was applied, and normally, once city services are available, if you have a well and a septic, lots tend to be larger to support those on-site services. So that was also taken into account in applying the R3 zoning.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
I have another one.
Sure, go ahead.
The other question I have is there going to be a landscape plan that's going to be required for each one of these houses that are sold in terms of, okay, so that it's only one tree they're planting? No, they should be planting all this. And you said something about park trees because they were talking about coverage and with the forest feel and all that stuff.
The developer of the subdivision will be required to plant street trees, a certain number, I forget the distance. But yes, each of the lots will be required to go before the review board. And part of the board's review is to look at any tree removal plan, look at replacement inches for any trees removed. And in addition to that, the building review board looks at a landscape plan. We have minimum landscape requirements for all new homes, and the building review board can require landscaping in excess of that. For instance, if a certain side of the property, maybe the garages face a certain side, it's not unusual for the building review board to require year-round screening adjacent to a driveway, for instance.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, I think we'll move on to commission discussion. Anybody want to start? I mean, it's the third time
I'm supportive of it.
this commission's seen it, right?
It's virtually the same as what we approved in, was it 2023? It's a thoughtful subdivision. It's in compliance with applicable zoning, but for that lot depth issue, which was explained away. So I would support it.
I would as well. Any other thoughts?
I would just make a comment to you folks who, were willing to come here tonight and say something. I mean, your comments were thoughtful, and quite frankly, we need more citizens who care to actually volunteer and get involved, and serve on zoning board, plan commission, these different governing bodies, because, I mean, these are decisions that get made in a long process. Right, there's a long process that goes into, to Ms. Cerniak's point about, an R3 zone being applied 7 years ago, and 21 years ago, we're looking at the master plan here in this body. Those are different steps that take a long time. They require a lot of volunteers to get involved and participate. So I would just also encourage you guys to, I know you're here because it's a personal situation. It impacts you directly in your home now, but I would just say you guys are obviously all effective, practitioners in your fields, and the community could use more of that. So I don't say that to be patronizing. I say it because it matters to all of us that we have more people that are involved consistently. So appreciate your comments.
Well said, Commissioner Davey. Yep. Okay. Anybody like to make a motion on this matter?
Can we just restate the motion that's in the minutes?
Yes, I don't think you need to read the whole thing. Maybe make a motion.
How do you want to handle it?
Take out the sprinkler.
Yeah.
Is it appropriate to just
You could, your motion, if you want to go in this direction, recommend approval of the tentative and final plat of the Saunders Estates 4-lot subdivision to the city council, subject to the conditions of approval, 1 through
6.
6, as detailed in the staff report.
Yes, I say that.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Petition passes. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is discussion of the comprehensive plan update. Kathy, would you like to lead us?
Yes, this matter is not before you for action tonight. We're at the very beginning of a discussion. The Plan Commission has previously seen the work of 3 different working groups. You saw an updated chapter of the comprehensive plan relating to the Central Business District, relating to the Route 60 corridor, and relating to the Waukegan Everett Road Business District. Now we're moving into looking really more broadly at the city, and we'd like to just get some high-level direction from the Plan Commission. We're not looking for answers, we're not looking for solutions, just areas that the next working group might focus on. That working group will be chaired by Commissioner Pickus. We
All right.
agreed to step into that. And I would suggest if you'd like, just for a more, since you won't be taking any action, if you'd like to move into a workshop forum in the conference room, you can do that. It will still be a public meeting. There is no one in the audience, I would note, but we may be able to have a more fulsome discussion around the table. And if you choose to do that, I would just announce that the recording would now end, and the minutes of that meeting will be available. But again, this matter will, with your high-level direction, will go to a working group. A draft chapter update will come back before you for discussion and public hearing. So we're a long way from that.
I'm going to consult with the chairman here to see how he would like to, if you'd like to meet here or over there. Would you like to move it over into the other?
We can decamp.
Okay.
Maybe more comfortable that way.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So oh,
So the commission is moving into a workshop setting, and we will be ending the live stream.
before we do that, should we get through the approval of the
Yes,
2026 schedule?
thank you.
Yep.
Yes.
No, thank Commissioner Moorhead, thank you. At this time, we have the Plan Commission meeting for, calendar for 2026. Seeing any objections to the approving this calendar as presented? All right,
Motion to approve?
Second.
all right. All in favor?
Aye.
And we will,
Yes.
of course, poll before each meeting and adjust them as we need to.
Okay, so at this time, we will not adjourn, but we will move over to the conference room and
But-
the
But the live stream
live stream will
will end,
end,
be an informal discussion, no action.
as Kathy said. Thank you.